What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've got a really cool video for you today. It is kind of by request. I've had a lot of guys ask me, hey Baitman, what is your favorite color in the spring? Hey Baitman, what's your favorite color lipless? Well, today is the video you've been waiting for, because I'm going to talk about colors for the spring. And laid out in front of me is basically two of my favorite color for all types of water clarity. And that's how I base my color selection in the spring. Is one, water temperature, two, water clarity. What I mean by that, as the water gets warmer, I'll start going away from these crawfish, bright crawfish patterns, to more natural shad-based patterns. The reason for that is, as the water warms, it gets in the 60s, your bait fish, your bluegill really start becoming more aggressive. They start moving around, they start trying to spawn, and that's when bass start feeding on them. When the water's colder, crawfish is the main diet for many of your bass in grass lakes like Toledo Bend, Rayburn, Lake Fork, Gunnersville, and used to be Kentucky Lake, but we don't have grass anymore. But we have a really big source of crawfish in this lake due to how many rocks are around. And your crawfish, they really start moving around in the spring. They come out for molting, and bass just love them. So let's go ahead and start your reds, bright reds, Rapala. Demon color, super popular. This is one of the things I pick up very first in the year. The water's usually got to have a little bit of color to it. These bright colors, this is the original Rayburn Red from Cordell that everybody copies. This even has the old Jimmy Houston autograph on it. It's worth quite a bit of money, actually. But this bait right here, dirty water, you really want to go with your reds or anytime there's a full moon, because crawfish are hatching, they become very active, bass start feeding on them. If the water's a little bit clear, maybe it's late February, early March, I like stuff that's more of a yellow with a brown back. This is, of course, spring crawl. You see me go to war on some dinks with this thing right here. This is one of my favorite colors. And then I'll take my lipless baits and I'll try to match that, or my square bills. This is a lot more muted than this Rayburn Red, if you can't tell. This is a 6 cents color, brown eye crawl. It's really good. I apologize, they're beating the crap out of some boat dock right behind me. Seems like every time I go to film a video, somebody else has some work to do where I'm at. Next, I'm going to go into one that's a personal favorite of mine, and it's really caught a lot of fish. When the water's got a lot of stain to it, it might not be so much muddy. I catch a lot of fish on a chartreuse and purple square bill or a lipless bait. This is the Jackal Aska. It's not a super bright chartreuse. It's very muted. It's got a very loud purple back. This is an awesome square bill. I really believe these fish, when they eat this chartreuse and purple, and this is a sour grape rattletrap, they feel like it's a bluegill. And into the summer, I catch a lot of fish on this, and I feel like they think it's a gizzard, because when this color hits the water has any kind of stain or dirtiness to it, this back actually turns like silver in the water. You still see the chartreuse, but the back's almost silver, and I feel like they think that's a gizzard shad or maybe even a bluegill. I don't know if you've ever caught a bluegill in early spring or late winter. They almost have a milky-like color to them. Their yellows aren't very bright, and I feel that imitates them very well. Now, when the water starts clearing up just a little bit more, I'll get away from these really bright colors. I'll go to something like the Cellmate color, which is a very light chartreuse, almost a green with that light blue back. I don't really throw a lot of traps in this color, but square bills, it's absolutely dynamite. Again, great in water that's almost clear. If it's got a lot of stain to it, you're going to want to go back to your bright reds or bright chartreuses. Speaking of clear water, I really like the root beer color, which is kind of a staple here on the Tennessee River, especially Kentucky Lake. This is a Spro crankbait and root beer chartreuse, but the whole root beer phenomenon started really from Bandit, and then Rattletrap makes a root beer color, and it is by far one of the best colors on Kentucky Lake. And I don't know why, but it does have an orange belly, so you're kind of imitating a crawfish, but you got a brown back, and it actually looks like a perch coming through the water. We don't have a lot of yellow perch here, and I wonder if these bass think this is a very juvenile bluegill, but they absolutely eat this thing. I really like that root beer when the water's kind of clear, maybe kind of stained, or like behind me, the back of this bay has some color to it and it's clear. I can really fish this in about anything. Now let's talk about your translucent colors, because not every lake is like the Tennessee River. You got Bull Shoals, the Ozarks, those places, Table Rock, are really popular about phantom colors. You know, reds that are translucent, browns that are translucent. I like the red translucent colors early spring. They're see-through. They're not bright, or they're not super bright. I was trying to make up a word, but they're not super bright, but they still got that crawfish look to them. This is like a Lucky Craft color. I think they call it Flake Flake, Raven Red. They just could have called it Raven Red, but that's always been a really good one in the super clear water. The Spro rock crawlers are really awesome, like that old school Wiggle Warp Phantom colors. This is their red crawfish, and you can see through this bait. It's kind of bright in the water, but it's not super bright, and I really like this color. I've caught a lot of fish this spring on this color here on Kentucky Lake because it's been super clear due to zebra mussels, Asian carp, and I've got a lot more bites on this than I have been throwing, say, this demon color crankbait. You can tell there's a major difference there. Now once that water starts getting up into the mid 50s, low 60 degrees, I want to go to something that's more brown and translucent, such as this 6 cents curve. This is Ozark crawfish, very close to those old Wiggle Warp Phantom Green, Phantom Brown, stuff like that. It's very deadly. The crawfish start to really get a brown hue as the water starts warming up. And then I like this color from Lucky Craft. This is called smallmouth bass, but it imitates that Phantom Green crawfish everyone really likes. This is actually an LV 300, and these are super hard to find, so if you got any, send me a message. I'd like to buy some from you. Again, same kind of style, very translucent, a very natural approach, great for that clear water. And then the last color we're going to talk about is your shad imitators. And I really like the shad imitators. Once that water is 62, 63 degrees, shad start moving around, bass get ready to feed up on them, shad spawn's fixing to happen. Those bass have already either been on the beds or they're coming off the beds. They're going to feed up on stuff like this right here. This is just clear chartreuse shad, and then this is a more of a chrome. This is called shad hammer, but not too specific on who makes it or the specific color, but your shad patterns are a whole lot better once that water really starts to warm out. Your shad bait fish get really active. Unfortunately, on Kentucky Lake, Asian carp has done ate up all our bait fish, so I need to have some Asian carp color crankbaits. So that's just a basic rundown of my color selection during the spring. I hope that really helps you. Log on to tacklefreaks.com. You'll be able to grab most anything I have out here. We have been super busy, and guys, I really appreciate all the feedback. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the bell by the subscribe button so you get notifications, because YouTube's got this thing going where they're not letting you know unless you hit the bell. Be sure to give the video a like. Baitman is out.